Hey everybody, welcome back to a Denton County weather forecast, and what we're looking at today is the potential for severe storms going into Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and potentially even into Friday of next week. We have a lot to get to in this forecast. I'll be breaking down everything individually for you, what I'm anticipating for each day. Timing, obviously, it's still a bit far out from all of these days, but I at least have some timing for you in, terms of at least a general timing standpoint, talking about within about a 6 to 12 hour range, but obviously we can't get too specific yet since we still have some time to go, but this is what we're kind of looking at this point. I'm going to break down everything for you in this video, including the future radar, everything like that. So here's what we're looking at for the current outlook for Sunday. So this does include most of Oklahoma, and it also includes DFW. And I told you in the last forecast yesterday that I did anticipate this area to shift south, which it has, in fact, shifted a bit south. It originally included areas like Kansas, and this is kind of where it cut off. So it was a bit more to the north. Now this does include Dallas, and it also includes all the way far south as Corsicana. Now, this is the slight risk and enhanced risk areas. This does not include the marginal risk, which we'll see, obviously, in tomorrow's update for the Day 3 outlook, which at this point, this is the Day 4 outlook. Once we get to the Day 3 outlook, we at least get to see individual categories like marginal as well as slight and enhanced. So this is what we're looking at though for the DFW Metroplex. You can see that Sherman is included in an enhanced risk of severe storms. This means conditions are favorable for the potential for some severe storms, and it's possible in the slight risk area, and this does include Denton. It also includes Tarrant County, it includes Dallas County, Collin County, Sulphur Springs, all the way down to Corsicana as well as Cleburne. So all these areas are included in that risk for the potential for damaging winds and hail. Those are the main threats. There's also a chance for a few tornadoes, and I'll get more into that in just a moment, but I do anticipate this to be somewhat of a different event. We don't usually see these, but this is an event where the storms are actually going to form after 6, 7 o'clock and eventually move toward the Metroplex, and it's kind of a weird setup, and I'll show you more in just a second, but I do think Tuesday is going to be the worst day for severe weather in the Metroplex, and I really have a lot of reasons for that, but this is the area that's included in the slight risk for Tuesday, and this does include DFW again, does not include Dallas, but it does include northwestern Dallas County. Again, it's basically Dallas is included, it's just on the outlying area of the slight risk at least. Denton County is included. I do anticipate this to be the worst severe weather event of the two, and really there's 3 to 4 potential severe weather events, but this one I think will be the worst. There's going to be a high level amount of shear in the atmosphere, deep level shear. There will be a lot of it to quickly initiate supercells and potentially have all threats in play, and that doesn't mean that there could be several tornadoes as well. So this one will be more important. Obviously, we still have to get through Sunday, so we'll be paying attention more to Sunday, but I'll be breaking down every day for you again here right now. So let's go ahead and jump into the future radar and what I'm anticipating over the next several days. So Friday, Saturday will stay dry. I don't think we're seeing anything then. We'll be dominated still by high pressure. Then by Sunday, we'll start to see a trough off to the northwest. This one will bring the severe weather chances more for the evening hours and overnight hours. You can see by 7 o'clock on the European model, here's where that low pressure system is. It actually is kind of centered here near Wichita Falls. I'm not entirely sure how accurate that is, but the storms will mostly form in this general area here. That's where they're going to start, and also off to the north. They will form anywhere from Oklahoma down through Wichita Falls and Abilene. And even Abilene, I can't rule out you see a storm there, but I think it'll mainly be to your east. But there's potentials there still. This is by 1 in the morning. You can see that there's going to be a potential for maybe a line of storms. I don't think this goes this far south, but again, can't rule it out. Just depends how much moisture there is, if there's a cap, that sort of thing. Now, if we look at one of these soundings real quick, this is a storm just per se over Tarrant County. Here's the potential threats that a storm, now this is not what is exactly going to happen, obviously it could happen, but this is the potential hazard a storm could bring, which is a potential for a tornado threat. As I said before, that threat will be there. Now, the cap is a huge question, and if you look at the sounding here, this is the temperature, and this is a SKU-T model, right? And I'm not going to get too specific because obviously this is a crazy chart. You might not understand everything on it. But the temperature and dew point is what you're looking at here. The green line is your dew point. The red line is your temperature. So you can see it's 73 degrees and the dew point 71. One thing to keep in mind here is this red line. This red line has to keep going this direction. What happens is there's a temperature inversion that could happen, which means that we could see a cap. And that's what we have to be monitoring as well, if there will actually be a cap that prevents us from seeing severe storms in certain areas, or even just storms in general. Now, this specific SKU-T, and I can't really zoom in, I don't think, that much on it. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. This is kind of what we're looking at here. So You can see the line is really, it's supposed to go off in this direction altogether. If any point it goes straight or goes to the right, that means there's going to be some sort of temperature inversion or cap. In this scenario, it's pretty close to having some sort of little cap here. And it's not necessarily a cap, but it's pretty close to it. It's almost going to the right. But that's going to be something to monitor. Obviously, the soundings are the best way to see if there's a cap or not. And in this scenario, it's not really there. But if you look out in front of it just by a few miles, you can see it's a bit more to the left. It keeps going left, which means the temperature is dropping as we go up in altitude, which is what is supposed to happen for severe weather events. And in this scenario, it looks like that probably will happen, but there's always that chance for a slight temperature inversion. With any sort of temperature inversion, even if it's that small, even a degree, it's going to prevent storms from bubbling up and, making cumulonimbus clouds. Obviously, this is a whole explanation of meteorology, but again, that's just kind of giving you an idea of what we're looking at when we're looking at these soundings and what you need to kind of know. Obviously, these are things that are very advanced, but those are things that we look at to predict the weather. Now, going into Monday, you can see the storms continue to push to the east. This going into Tuesday, can't rule out more storms going into Tuesday, and you can see the severe weather chance does exist again. Severe storms, again, could have that threat for a tornado. It looks like this day will be pretty damn similar to what we're looking at with Sunday, so it's definitely going to be something to really monitor very closely. This will likely be the worst of the two events when it comes to severe weather, and you can see going into Wednesday, more storms could even happen Wednesday, with the severe weather threat being more marginal, but there is still going to be an existent severe weather threat going into Wednesday, and it does look like there will be more storms. Going to Thursday, can't rule out some more showers and storms, mainly to the south. Friday, we should stay fairly dry, and then we will probably dry out after that. So a lot to watch, though, and this is going to be very important that you are staying up to date with Denton County weather for the latest. We'll be keeping you updated throughout the weekend and going into next week as well with severe weather. I just threw my phone on the ground. But going into the next little bit here, I'm going to go ahead and look at the instability as well as the cap and what we're kind of looking at there. So here's a look at the instability. This is through Friday and Saturday. We have no instability here for the next couple of days. Again, we're going to stay dry Friday and Saturday. Any outdoor plans, they should be fine. It will be hot, but they will be fine. No storms at all are expected Friday or Saturday. Sunday, we'll eventually start to see those southerly winds kicking up some moisture, and that will eventually initiate some instability, which again, instability is the main area that we're looking at for the potential for some thunderstorm activity. This is at 7 o'clock at night. This is at 1 o'clock in the morning. You can see the instability. What I was saying before was that the storms are really primarily going to be after 7 o'clock. You can see there wasn't a whole lot of instability at the 7 o'clock hour, at least according to the European model. There isn't a whole lot. The gray values are anywhere from maybe 0 to 500 joules per kilogram, which is a pretty low number for energy. Now, if we're going over to, another 6 hours, which is at 1 in the morning, instability values across the area, anywhere from 1 to 2,000 easily. So that is what I'm talking about when it comes to, it's a kind of a weird event with how this trough is setting up. And you can see the instability values here again are pretty high for severe weather to happen. Now, obviously, values of like 3,000 have much higher chances of seeing severe weather. A lot of buoyancy in the atmosphere, but again, 1 to 2,000 is still a pretty decent amount for any severe storms. Now, going into Tuesday, this is why I'm saying this event could be much worse. This is Tuesday afternoon and evening, so you can see that the instability values across the area, anywhere from 1 to 2,000, area-wide, and it looks like these severe storms will be more supercells and not really linear. They'll be more of discrete supercells. That's what really gets dangerous. Again, a cap could form, and we might not see a whole lot. That'll be something to monitor as well. But again, it's a little bit too early to tell on that. And this is the look at Wednesday with that line of storms that I was showing you before. There might be a line, instability values again across the area, about 1,000 to 1,500. So again, a lot to monitor over the next several days. I've said that plenty of times, but you definitely need to be staying updated with any weather source that you have. Like Denton County weather, again, will probably be your primary one if you're watching this video. But again, NBC, DFW, any of those weather sources that you know of, make sure you're watching them pretty closely for any updates. And I'll be posting updates almost instantly whenever I get anything. So just keep that in mind. All right, going into Sunday, again, this is the NAM model. It can't get very specific yet. Once we're into tomorrow, I'm hoping that the NAM 3K model, which is a lot more specific, and we'll show you a lot more details, is available. But this is the look at what the NAM model is showing, and again, it looks like a line of storms. It only shows green. It's a very, broad model. It's not going to really show you anything. But the trough is also much further to the north in comparison to where it was showing down here closer to Wichita Falls at the time of Sunday night. So a lot to think about here, but again, that will be the potential. All right, let's look at the tornado parameter. This is the one that I really wanted to get to because this is going to be very important, especially for Sunday. It cannot go any farther than Sunday on the NAM model. But this is Sunday. You can see this is at 7 in the morning on Sunday. there is absolutely no potential for a tornado. We're looking at perfectly fine conditions. Now, if we had 3-6 hours more, that values start to go up a bit more. That means that there's more shear, there's more ingredients for the potential for supercells to rotate. Now, as we go throughout the afternoon, those values really skyrocket across Oklahoma between 1 and 2. And again, this does not mean we're going to see a tornado outbreak by any means, but it does mean that we could see a couple to a few tornadoes. And I'm talking about maybe 2 to 3 tornadoes, maybe a couple more than that. But again, this is what we're kind of looking at. The values between 1 to 2 mean that it does have a pretty good chance of seeing at least a couple tornadoes in that ranged area. So again, if we go and click on a sounding, let's just say in the 2.2 tornado parameter range, you can see down here on the right side of your screen that potential for tornado exists. And you can see what the temperature and the skew-T model here, you can see that the temperature is 81, dew point 67. If those are closer together, the closest that they can get together, that will definitely mean that there's a much higher risk of seeing supercell storms, which at this point the dew point and temperature are a little bit spread apart, but they definitely are good enough to the point where it's going to be more of an overnight, it's going to be more of a nighttime threat, so this temperature will probably drop down a few degrees at least, and the humidity usually rises after sunset, so that's something to keep in mind. But you can see the values go up to 3 across North Texas, and this is the area where that enhanced risk exists. So at this point, and this is actually showing Denton County and areas like that, Tarrant County, Rockwall County, those areas are all looking at the potential for tornado. Again, I would not panic, but I would definitely just be prepared. A lot of the time, these events get overhyped by, what I mean overhyped is mean that everybody's expecting severe weather everywhere. I don't think we're going to see some sort of huge outbreak, but we definitely will see some severe weather. The tornado parameter is 3, which usually does indicate we'll at least see a few tornadoes. So definitely something to keep in mind is just make sure you have a plan in place before going into the weekend. Make sure you know what to do when there is a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, anything like that. Again, this is going to be more of a nighttime threat, so when these storms do arrive, it could definitely be pretty dangerous. Now, if we look at one of these real quick, like a 3.4 reading, it shows PDS tornado, which means particularly dangerous situation. I just don't think that this is going to be that dramatic of an event. I know that there's enhanced risk here for the Metroplex. I'll go back to this real quick. For Sunday, I don't know about that, though. I definitely agree with the area if it were to be an enhanced risk, but I just don't know if it'll be that dangerous at this point. But it's always better to be prepared and rather than be sorry. I don't want some event, obviously the Storm Prediction Center isn't going to put a marginal risk on an event when it doesn't even have, when it has the potential to be something more like a high-end severe weather event where you need like a category, like a 5 category. So that's my thoughts on it. Make sure you stay updated with Denton County weather for the latest. We will be keeping you updated. Again, there's a lot to be watching over the next several days. We'll be keeping you updated on Instagram and Facebook with the latest. And make sure to subscribe here to our YouTube channel. And make sure you have a great rest of your night. And make sure you stay safe.